actual reason why you are not feeling fulfilled, right? So if you're not feeling fulfilled right now, or you know somebody who may not be feeling fulfilled at the moment, we're going to be diving into the actual reason why you're not feeling fulfilled in life, whether it's in your life, in your business, or, you know, some people may say things like, I just don't feel happy. And I'm going to be talking to you about why, right? Why that happens. So whether you're experiencing these yourself, or whether you are working with somebody as a coach, or whether you have a friend or a family member who may say this to you, especially at the moment, and I'm going to talk about why this is so key at the moment. This is going to be helpful, okay? So as always, I'm Rebecca Lockwood, your neuro-linguistic programming trainer, hypnosis trainer, and breakthrough coach trainer. I certify and accredit coaches mainly, or female entrepreneurs, in NLP coaching, hypnotherapy, and a few other modalities, actually, including energy, positive psychology, timeline therapy, and a few other bits and bobs. So today I'm diving into the actual reason why you are not feeling fulfilled with life, or the actual reason somebody in general doesn't feel fulfilled in life, right? So there has been a significant shift in the world right now, right? There has been a massive shift in the world right now. And I spoke with Spirit and Destiny this last week now. We're on Monday now, aren't we? So last week, I'm currently running a live training series with Spirit and Destiny, which has been brilliant. So if you want to tune into them, they are on a Friday at 3 p.m. I had to remember then. They're on a Friday at 3 p.m. So if you want to tune in, we've got another 4 to go. And you can also watch the replays on there as well. So I spoke to them last week, Spirit and Destiny, about why this is so important. And I'm going to be diving into it now with you guys, because I think it's really important for you to understand, and it'll be really valuable for you as well. So the actual reason why you're not feeling fulfilled with life. Now, at the moment, there's this massive shift happening, right? And there's been a significant event that's happened for everybody across the world, all at the same time, that we have no control over. So usually there is something that happens in life called a significant emotional event, an SEE. And what happens when we experience significant emotional events is we experience this shift, right, in our lives. We evaluate what's important to us. We reevaluate things that matter, what we're doing with our lives, and we may not consciously be doing this, so we may not realize this is what we're doing, but unconsciously this is what we do. And a significant emotional event usually is something like having a child, or moving house, or changing jobs, or being made redundant, or coming to a certain age. You know, if you've reached a certain age, it could happen at that point. Losing someone close to us, all these kinds of things that are very significant and emotional that happen to us in our lives. So a significant emotional event. And what usually happens is when we experience this significant emotional event, we experience this shift at the unconscious level. And the shift is like us asking ourselves, right, what is important to me right now? What is important to me about my life? What is my purpose in life? Why am I doing what I do in life? Like, for example, if you are currently in a job and you realize that you no longer want to be in that job, like, this is because this shift happens, and it's usually down to a significant emotional event. Now, what happened and what's happening really now is the whole world has experienced this massive shift all at the same time. Everybody in the whole world has experienced this significant emotional event all at the same time. Like with the pandemic, we've been put into lockdown, we've been told what we can and can't do. And these are all things that create a significant emotional event in our lives. And we've seen this big shift happen where people are either questioning what's going on in their lives, they're questioning what has been going on in their lives, and they're asking themselves questions like, do I want to continue doing this? Or, like, for example, in work, or even perhaps in relationships, right? We're starting to question, like, why are we doing what we do? What is our purpose in life? And on the flip side of that, we've also had people who may already know the things that are important to them, may already know what their purposes are, but their values are not being met. And so they're feeling unfulfilled because the things that are usually important to them, for example, connecting with friends and family and seeing friends and family, things like this we're not able to do at the moment, which is leaving people feeling unsatisfied because their values are not being met, right? So what is a value? Okay, so values are things that are important to us in our lives, and they may be conscious, but they also may be unconscious. So when I had my first child, probably just over 6 years ago, she's nearly 6, but as I was pregnant with her and as I had her, I experienced this. Well, I brought a child into the world for the first time, so it was a massive, significant emotional event. But in the run up to that, I also experienced this kind of shift starting to happen where I was starting to question, okay, what is important to me in life? What is my purpose in life? And then I had a baby and my values shifted so much, and I didn't fully understand what that meant at that time. Okay, so what happened was my values shifted, and I all of a sudden had this baby to look after, and I didn't know what was happening. So I didn't know my values had shifted, right? But at the unconscious level, what was happening is I was questioning everything about my life, everything about what I was supposed to do, about things that were important to me that I'm no longer able to do. And I felt unfulfilled, but I also felt really confused about why I felt unfulfilled, because I just had a baby and I had a baby. Like, it was magical. Like, how could I feel unfulfilled when I had this magic person that I'd created, right? And this led to postnatal depression. So I didn't know at that time that that's what was happening, but now I understand how values work and how we show up in the world and how we understand what's important to us in life. I really understand now that although at the beginning I definitely think it was to do with my emotions and, you know, chemicals and things like of having my baby, but also there was this shift that happened which kind of strung it out for a lot longer and made me go deeper and darker, because I'd be questioning myself after having this significant emotional event, and I'd be questioning, okay, well, what is the meaning of life and what is my purpose? And I was also not able to live up to some of the things that I wanted to do, which were important to me before I had my child, which then may have seemingly been less important, but also I still wanted to do, right? And so this happens for everybody. So when we have an experience and a significant emotional event, whether it's having a baby or the pandemic, right, or changing career or being made redundant or moving house or losing someone close to us, this is what we all experience, right? We all experience this shift. And our values really are deep subconscious things that are really important to us. Things like love, fun, family, money, you know, things, security, connection, success, freedom. You know, like my top 3 values are freedom, family, and success, you know. And for me, success means certain things, but for somebody else it may mean something in fact it definitely will mean something completely different. So I may be using these words such as love, fun, family, money, security, success, and we all create a different internal representation and put a different meaning to what these words mean, okay? So if somebody came up to you and was like, and you were having a conversation with someone and they were like, yeah, my highest value is family too. And you were like, yeah, family is really important to me. The term family may mean something completely different to each of you, right? And that's okay, okay? That's just something that's really important to remember, especially if you're working with your clients on values. So values are deep subconscious things that are important to us. We may not be consciously aware of how we need these values to be met. However, our happiness and our fulfillment in life really comes down to our values being met. So when our values are being met, we feel fulfilled. We are doing things that we want to do in our lives. So in the example which I just used in connection, so connection is one of my high values. So connection for me means seeing my friends, going around and having a cup of tea with my girlfriends, right, and catching up. It means, you know, taking my kids to the park with my friend who's also got kids and having the kids connect and us, you know, connect and catch up. And these kind of things for me, and you know, you might think of connection, you might think of something completely different, and that's okay, right? And I'm definitely not saying that you need to take on my view of connection. I'm just giving you an example. So right now, with what's happening at the moment, when we're being told that, one, we can't really go out unless it's for specific reasons, and 2, we cannot meet up with people outside of our bubble, I'm not able to meet them things. I'm not able to do them things. And so what that means is that in parts of my life, I'm not feeling fully fulfilled because I'm not able to meet up to my unconscious values. Okay. So thankfully, because I'm very aware of this, I'm able to ask myself questions and say, okay, well, I know why I'm waking up in the morning and feeling a bit down, right? Because my values are not being met. So what can I do now? And I can ask myself a better question. What can I do now to support them values to be met, but maybe in just a different way? Perhaps I could have a Zoom conversation with a friend. Perhaps I could have a WhatsApp conversation with a group of friends. These things may not be fully meeting that value. However, they are supporting that value, which supports me then to feel fulfilled. So this may look completely different in your own life, and it may look, or it may feel, or it may, manifest itself in a completely different way in your life. But I just want to challenge you to think about what things are important to you in your life and how are they not being met at the moment. And I say it that way because at the moment, there are definitely, the shift has happened where either one, your values have shifted and changed. So you've realized that different things are important to you, or you're not quite sure what's happening, you're just feeling unfulfilled. Or two, your values have stayed the same, but your values are not being met now because you're not able to do the things that you want to do in your life, right? So I just want to challenge you to think about this and reflect this in your own life. Like, we're all in a space where we're not fully fulfilled because we're not able to fully do the things that we want to do in our lives, right? And I'm not trying to sugarcoat this. This is the truth. This isn't about thinking, well, let's just think positively. Of course we need to think positively, but we also need to honor and acknowledge what is happening right now in our own lives. And it's okay to feel unfulfilled sometimes, and then be able to ask ourselves a better question. Like, okay, well, what can I do to meet that need because that's not currently being met at the moment? Or, well, now my values may have shifted. Maybe this is why I'm feeling a bit incongruent. Maybe this is why I'm feeling a bit unsatisfied and unfulfilled in what I'm doing. Maybe this is why I'm feeling a bit confused and a bit like I don't know what direction to go in. Maybe sit down with yourself and ask yourself, okay, well, what is important to me right now about life? Yeah. So values help us to really understand what's important to us in life, right? What's important to us in life, what's right or wrong, what we want to take action on, and what we may not want to take action on. It can act like a sort of compass, right, with our direction in life. And to give you an example of this, when a couple of years ago, I was met with a really, really exciting opportunity, okay? It was really exciting. And on the surface of it, it looked, and I felt like I wanted to take action upon it. It was a position working with young entrepreneurs, delivering training. So I love delivering training, that's what I do. And it was supporting young entrepreneurs. So I was like, tick, 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 tick. The wage was pretty good, tick, tick, tick. I was like, there's something inside that's telling me that this isn't the right thing, but everything else is making me really excited. And I looked at my values and I realized that if I would have taken the opportunity, I wouldn't have been able to be at home for my kids when they got home from school. I wouldn't have been able to take them to school. I wouldn't have been able to pick them up, right? And so although on the face of it, I may have been excited about the opportunity for the first few months, if I'd have taken the opportunity, I would have in the long run felt unsatisfied and unfulfilled because I wouldn't have been meeting my values in life. Okay, so our values can really help us to understand like what is important to me in life and what direction should I go in. So if you're ever feeling like you're struggling to make a decision about something, or you're ever feeling like you're just not sure what direction to go in, meet your values, check in with your values and think, well, are these things going to be like fulfilled if I take this action, if I go in this direction? Okay, so they can really help guide us to understand what action we should take in life and in our careers or business to support us to feel more fulfilled. Values can also come in all areas of life. So our life, we've got life values, but then they can also be segmented into life, spiritual, work, career, health and fitness, personal development, things like that. So it's really helpful to understand our values before we do things like goal setting, right? Because on the face of things, you may think, right, well, I want to do this, and as a goal, I want to set this goal. But when you check in with your values, you may realize that there may be some incongruency and maybe some misalignment in you being able to achieve that goal and you being fulfilled. So to give you an example, in fact, I'm not going to give you an example on that because it's really relative to each individual, and I don't want to impose my version of reality onto somebody else's because that wouldn't be useful for you in this context. So in terms of setting goals and looking at your values, what you can do is you can understand what is important to you in your life. Ask yourself, okay, well, based on these things that are important to me in my life. So for example, if number one for you was connection, right? If a really important value for you was connection, you can then ask yourself, okay, how fulfilled am I currently on a scale of 0 to 100% in this value right now? Right? So you may say, for example, 50%. Okay, so you can then ask yourself, what can I now do to support myself to get this value closer to 100%? What actions can I take? What goals can I set? And then we can set goals based on that. So we're really goal setting based on the things that are really, really important to us in life, which will support us to feel more fulfilled in life and more satisfied in general and happier, right? Happier in general. So if you work with a coach, or when you're working with a coach, or if you're a coach and you're working with your clients, it's really helpful to go through your life values early in the coaching relationship so that you really understand what things are important to your client or to you as the coachee. And this will help motivate you in your life and help when you're setting goals to make sure that they're aligned with you. And if you're a coach, it's really important to understand your client's values, because when you're motivating your client to take action, or you're tasking them, or they're tasking themselves, and you're checking in to make sure it's congruent, you can ensure that when they need, for example, some extra motivation, or the things that they're setting are really going to support them to move forward and fulfill their values and not move away from them. Okay. So there is a really simple way that you can understand your values, and I'll just quickly touch on it now because I like to keep these sessions short and sweet, but really actionable and useful. So I'm just going to go through a really quick way that you can understand your values and what's important to you. And then I'm also, one of my team will write this up onto the blog, and it'll be sent out in our weekly newsletter on Friday, so that you can literally go in and see all the written up the write-up of it, so you can go through it yourself. So you understand your values by starting by asking yourself, what is important to me about life? So if you're eliciting life values and you're wanting to understand what's important to you in your life, and if you're not feeling fulfilled in your life right now, or you know somebody else who's not feeling fulfilled in their lives, start by asking, what is important to you about life? Right? Write down anything that comes to mind. So if you're doing this for yourself, then you write it down yourself. If you're doing this with a client, you just ask them and then you write down what they're saying. If you're doing this with a client, you need to write it down in the exact words that they're giving you. Don't put your own meaning to the words that they're giving you and change the word. Never do that, because we spoke about this last week actually, because when we use language, we all have a different internal representation and different meaning for the words that we use. So we need to ensure that we use the client's word if you're working with a client, and if you're doing it for yourself, that's fine, just write down the word that comes up for yourself. So keep writing until you can't think of anything else, and then ask yourself, if I have all of these things, right, if I've got all of these things, everything that I've listed, what else would I have to feel even more satisfied? Right? What else would I have to feel more satisfied? And then again, write anything that comes to mind. So ideally, you're looking for a list of about 30 things, because we want to get deep to the subconscious, and we keep asking these questions until you literally can't pull anything else from yourself or from your client. And the reason why we do this is because we want to get the deep-rooted ones right at the subconscious. So if, for example, you may be struggling to think of something, or your client can't think of anything, just again go back and say, okay, if you've got all of these things, if you have all of these things in your life, what else would you need to have to feel more satisfied? If you can't think of anything, you can also think back to a time in your life where you were really satisfied, you were really fulfilled. What was going on in your life right then, right? What was going on in your, can't speak. What was going on in your life then, and then just write them things down, okay? So when you've done that, you want a long list of about 30 things, and then you're going to number them in number of importance. Okay, so starting with 1 being the most important, all the way to however many you've got. Okay, now you may have some in there that mean the same thing to you. So if they have the same meaning, just bunch them together and put them in the same number. And then what you're going to do from that is you're going to have a list of however many you've got, from 1 to however many you've got, and you're going to use the top 8. So the top 8 are going to be the things that are really, really important to you in your life, and they're going to be your highest values. So when you know what your values are, you can ask yourself, okay, based on this value, so for example, if family, for example, is the highest value to you, you can ask yourself, based on this value of family, how satisfied am I, or how fulfilled am I in life right now out of 100%? So I might say 50%. Okay, brilliant. So based on that, what can I take action upon, or what goals can I set, whether you call them actions, goals, tasks, it doesn't matter. What can I take action upon now to support myself to make this more like 100%? And that will be the basis of your goals, and that's what you need to take action on. So when you're not feeling fulfilled in life, just to kind of recap on everything, it's because your values are not being met, or your values have shifted and you're just not aware of them anymore. So the best thing you can do is to really just check in. Okay, what are my values? What's important to me in my life? And how are these currently being met in my life right now? And what can I do about it? Right? The action thing is key, because it's all right knowing what your values are, but then if you don't know how satisfied you are based on each value, and you're not taking action upon each value to support yourself to feel fulfilled in life, then you're not really doing anything with the information, right? The information on its own is brilliant, but you need to take action on that information as well. So if you're feeling unsatisfied in life, that is the reason why, right? That is the reason why. And we're all going through this shift right now in life, which usually would only experience one at a time. So, a lot of people may go through, things at a similar sort of time. So for example, if you've got a group of friends who are a similar sort of age, as you come to a certain sort of age, you may then experience a significant emotional event because you've come to a certain age, maybe like a milestone age, for example, and that's led you to question. So there may be a couple of you who may experience it at a similar sort of time. Having babies, having a child, or anything to do with, what cropped into my mind then was like, whether you have a baby or adopt a baby, or that's all going to lead to the experience of a significant emotional event. When we are made redundant, when we change our jobs, when we're forced into a pandemic, right? All of these things create a shift. So the best thing you can do is just check in with your values, understand what's important to me at the moment. How am I being fulfilled right now based on the things that are important to me, and what can I do to support myself, and take action upon making me feel more fulfilled based on the things that are more important. So this is important for you to learn because it's deep subconscious, right? It's deep rooted at the subconscious level. You won't always be aware of this. You might just say things like, I just don't feel happy. Or for me, I felt like I was in a bit of a dark hole. Like, that's how I felt. I was diagnosed with postnatal depression, and so it manifested itself in me through depression, anxiety, OCD, and that was my experience of it. Other people might just say, I don't feel happy, I don't feel fulfilled, I don't feel like I've got much energy, or they might just say, I'm just not happy, right? So a really good indication, all of them things are a really good indication that you need to check in with your values and what's important to you. So as always, I'm Becca Lockwood, your neuro-linguistic programming trainer, hypnosis trainer, and breakthrough coach trainer. And this was quite a long session, but I just thought it would be so valuable to you right now, because this is something that's happening in the world for everybody and we have no control over it. So always by checking in with your values and what's important to you and making sure that them things are being met or as closely as possible will help you to feel more fulfilled in life, in business, in whatever values it is that you check in with.